Well, there you are. Again, Charlie Greer Podcast. I do this every day today. So, fight at the photo agency. Yeah. But first, please like, share, and subscribe. If you want to support the channel, information's in the description for Cash App. My handle is Charlie Greer Podcast. And there's also information for Zelle. Got to use my email. Let's do this. So, I got to censor myself with this story. Yeah, I can't name names or name the photo agency. I'm sorry. So, I was this is like 2007. Um, I was looking for work, and at the time, my roommate, he was like a computer guy, was like, "Let me just submit you to some places." I was like, "Man," and he did. Um, he was like, "Hey, I got you this interview at a photo agency." Photo agency, like, yeah, photo editor, photo editor. Like, I've never edited any photos. I don't own a camera. Like, no, no, no. You just gotta. You're great at sales, and you can bullshit your way through anything. So, um, I go in there, and I've kind of told this story before. I mean, I'm in this lobby waiting to be interviewed, and there's like people in suits and uh, briefcases with cameras around their, there I am looking like Johnny Thunders. Uh, so he was coming out, the guy interviewing, and he saw me, and I went last. Okay. And then literally after everybody left, he came out and he walked up to me, and goes, "What are you doing here? How did you get this interview?" He knew, like, I'm not, you don't have a briefcase, you don't have a camera, you don't even have a resume. Um, but I heard a voice like, interviewing you. So we went in, and he was just kind of, well, tell me about yourself. I said, yeah, I do this, that, and the other thing. He didn't, come on. I was trying to pull the wool over their eyes. And so I said, look, because it's licensing photos. I said, look, licensing's like sales, right? I can sell anything, man. I can sell a washing machine, a skateboard. It doesn't matter. It's all, same principles. Then I heard this voice that was behind this other room. Hire that guy. And they started arguing, like, no, he's not. We'll train him, hire him. So I did. He goes, I'll give you a year, because we have to train you in this, that, and the other thing. So I get hired. Turns out that the guy who owned the photo agency liked my chutzpah, like he liked my drive. He liked everybody else was trying to kiss that. Here I am, just like, hey, I can do whatever. And honestly, I did. I got in there, and the first day they're like, hey, just try to work your way around this Mac computer, figure out the Photoshop. Don't even try to license because I had all these contacts and like stuff in front of me. Like, don't even try to license a photo. But I did. I licensed a photo. And they were like, wow. So they kind of took the attention off, like, okay, hey, man, this guy's, and they saw me making 100, 150 calls. Like every day I was on the phone. Every day I was there. Sometimes I'd make, man, you would not believe how many phone calls, quick ones, long. So like the first week I was there. So this guy that hired me, I heard something going on. He goes, hey, can you help me? There's this old photographer coming in. Somehow, I don't even know what was going on. He thought he was owed money, this, that, and the other. He thought the guy that hired me, the guy that interviewed me, I should say, had made a mistake or fucked him over, or I don't even know. And so, can you be like the buffer? Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I didn't really know what was going on. And so I was in my office, if you will. And I heard this ruckus. I heard this noise like this. Because it was like down the hall, and there was like this stairwell that kind of went up. It was this big building in Hollywood. Then I heard like a fight. I literally heard like, like people get, and help me. The guy had to hire me. I heard, it sounded bad. And it sounded like it was coming, so he's call 911, call 911. So I did. I picked up the phone, 911. Hey, man, gave him the address. And then I called 911. And then the guy was like, I'm out. He left. And then the owner and the guy came up to me and was like, what did you call 911? He's screaming bloody murder for his life. What was I supposed to do? Like, oh, don't ever call 911. I don't care what's going on. Do not call 911. Are you kidding? That's what am I supposed to do? Sounds like dude's getting murdered. We're in a photo agency in Hollywood. You wouldn't think, like this isn't like any street kind of, Well, you got to deal with the cops there. Go downstairs and tell them it was a mistake. You go down. Well, I'm the new guy. I don't even. Nah, just go. Fine, So I did, and they sent a bunch of cops. And I was like, oh no, everything's fine. But you can't do 911. They're like, no, we want to come in. We need to look around. I was like, well, no, and they did. They came up like the second, third floor where we were at, and wanted to look around. And then they saw the guy, the manager guy, whoever that hired me, and he had like a busted face. He wouldn't say anything. He's like, I don't want to press charge. He wouldn't mention the guy's name, who I never even saw. Like, I never saw this dude. I just heard it going down. And now I don't want to, and it's like he was even mad at me. Like he was screaming bloody murder, call 911. And then when I did, he was like, how dare you call 911? Dude, I didn't know if you were getting stabbed or what, huh? Like, don't call 911 when you're screaming bloody murder, call 911. What is that? Never thank me. I basically saved his life because I come to find out this guy that beat him up or whatever was, I guess you don't mess with this guy. He'd show up at an agency and literally like want to beat somebody's, beat him up till he got his money or whatever it was, his photos they had or I don't even know. But this became like a pattern where something would go off and give it off to Charlie, give it off to me. And at the agency, what they would do was we represented like 250 like famous photographers and stuff all over the world. And then we had a warehouse full of, this is when there was slides. Everything was getting digitized around this time, but there was slides. And they would keep copies, multiple copies of their like work that we license. But the photographer kept like the masters. We didn't own any of these slides. It was the photographer. So I'd get, hey, we need to send me over like everything on John Lennon or David Bowie, whoever, and then you would scan them, or we'd already have them digitized. And then like, I'd go to the FTP drop. We drop them FTP, send them. Okay, pick this one, pick that one. I fill up the paperwork and the digital paperwork, online, and then we negotiate a price. It was like depending on what they used it for. Like, say if it was a news story, it was cheaper. It was like a 1 to 1 week. Then it could be up to a month, 6 months, a year, 5 years, 10 years, but no in perpetuity. Like they didn't do any kind of forever deals. And if it was a book, it was more because I guess it's something you're physically selling. So if it's something you physically sell, like a t-shirt or a book or whatever, it was more, the license was more. If it was just coming like digital or whatever, it was a little cheaper, depending on who and what photographer and what it was, and then, so this was back in like, again, 2007, 2008 is when I worked there. My manager would take the bigger jobs. And then one day he came in, he goes, hey, look, I want you to take over this job. It's for the NWA movie. This is when it was in like pre-production. They want to license all the images. But I'm having problems with these people. Can you do it? I'll give you like, it was going to be good money. Like, sure, I talked to him on the phone. I knew it'd be problems. Like these people were not going to, it's like the urban music industry kind of, hey, And so they're like, we're coming in and we want all the photos. And I was trying to explain to him, like, look, it's multiple photographers, like 20 or 30 that they wanted to license, and they own the masters. We just have copies, and there's other copies, it wasn't an exclusive. They had other agents, they want to license their images as much as possible. They had an agent in LA, one in New York, one in London, who knows? I try to explain it to these people. Like, if you get these copies of the slides, it doesn't mean there aren't any. No, we get, okay. Matter of fact, we'll give them to you because we had extra copies. And it was a bunch. It was stacks of. They came in these like kind of folder things, plastic, and there was a bunch of them. They came in and they were rough. They were rough and they were rude to me. And I said, look, don't kill the messenger. Again, I explained it to them that, like, if you want to, we want to own everything, the estate of so and so and this, that, and the other, and Dr. Dre, and yeah, I get it. But I'm telling you that you're just getting a copy of a photo. You're gonna have to round up every. I don't own them. We don't own them. We're representing. We're an agency. No, man, you're gonna. I thought I was gonna get beat up. I thought it was gonna be another fight. So I gave up, and everybody knew we were doing it. Everybody was like, just give them those copies. It was, a foot high, 2 foot tall of like every kind of. It was all of it. Early images of MWA, live pictures, and so I did, and they left, and they're like, yeah. And then the manager came and was like, hey, thanks a lot. It's you did me a solid. Okay. And come to find out, though, they didn't. Somehow they didn't pay. Like, I was like, where's that money? That was supposed to be a big chunk from me. No, they haven't paid. They're not gonna, we're not even gonna pursue it. We're gonna let it go. Let it go. Well, I guess so. I mean, they were scary, yeah. Win some, you lose some. I didn't want them coming back, and sometimes they did call. And I was cool with them and honest. And they told me to be honest, like, hey, man, explain them to, we're just an agency. We didn't take the picture. We just represent these photographers. And some of these photographers were like famous photographers who, and then when everything went digitized and then Getty Images bought up everything, it was harder for them to make money. And I remember this one photographer, he was famous. I can't remember his name. He called me up and he was like, help me, try to do more for me, this, that, and the other. I can't even get my pool cleaned. Like my mansion, my pools, I don't have enough money. Well, those are rich people problems. I mean, I don't, have you tried cleaning it yourself? What? Perhaps you need to move out of the man. And he did. He had his own building. Well, I don't know if he owned it or not. He had to let that go. He had to move out of his mansion. And I'm sure he had a nicer place than I did, but he had to buckle down a bit. And he came in, and he was, and I'm like, he was saying, like, back in the 80s and early 90s, he'd make like 200,000 a month, 250,000 a month. And now he was, hey man, times change, time marches on. People, things change. I don't. He was thinking I should work hard. Dude, what do you mean? I've got like 250 other photographers that I have to, and I was always making calls to Manhattan. I worked on some really good projects. I licensed images for like a Kiss tour book and some Kiss like reissues. I did a bunch of bands, like stuff for like LA Guns and Faster Pussycat, bands that I like, and other bands I did, Bach Return Overdrive, just like images that we had. And I would mention the agency, but I don't want to. So it wouldn't have my name. If it said credited, it would just show the agency. It wouldn't show me. And I work on books, people's biographies or whatever, pictures that, they don't own those images. See, people think that you're a celebrity out and about. When someone takes a picture of you, the photographer owns that. And we had over 1 million slides and this, that, and the other. And not all of it was digitized yet. So it was, again, they were last to go digital. They should have did it before. This is like the infancy of things getting digitized. And I mean, what am I supposed to? Teeny bopper magazines. I did a lot at the time. It was like Jonas Brothers. I made a ton of money licensing Jonas Brothers images. I got offered to photo edit a magazine, some tattoo magazine, actually out of New York, but I could have did it living anywhere, But they were going to pay much, like as far as salary. Then I would get, because that's what I did. I got a salary plus commission. But the salary for this tattoo magazine was like probably half of what I made. And then with the commission, I might make about what I would just make on salary. You know what I mean? So on the job I had. So I said, no, I can't, because it was tough working at this agency. There's always drama and people, you know, again, showing up and expecting, like some people be like, I want my photos. It's like, well, you have to explain to these D-list celebrities basically that you don't own that. What's me? Well, yeah, you know, just because someone takes a picture of you doesn't mean anything. You, anybody, you know what I mean? If you're out and about, I get it. It's not cool, but it's what it is. And I, you know, after a while, and this is the time when my last album came, like 2008. I was rehearsing at night, gigging, you know, sometimes during the week, but mostly on the weekend. And right in the heart of Hollywood, but I lived in North Hollywood. And yeah, it's cool. Yeah, you're a photo editor at an agency, but they were downsizing. The owner was older. Again, Getty Images had bought up everything. I mean, like a big whale, just, you know. And I forgot the name of the other company that was buying up every kind of image. And we were an independent, like family-owned company. And below, there was multiple businesses in the building, and behind, there was like a famous producer that had a recording studio. And I had off my office, I had a balcony, and that's where I'd go do my smoke breaks. And I'm not going to name the guy, but he's like a British pop guy, like a rock star, bigger in England than he's in America. And I would, you know, smoking, and they're like down to my right, you know, they had a little like parking lot, whatever. And I'm out there, not even looking at him. I hear like, who's this guy? You know, I look over, and they're like, oh, that's, you know, Charlie. He works at the photo agent. The guy's like, nah, something's weird, you know. Honestly, I didn't even know who he was. And he had like security with him. So I thought, well, maybe he is somebody. And again, I didn't mess with these people. I didn't, you know, I am in my office, and then here they come. Here comes this rock pop star and his security. Like, who are you? I'm like, well, I'm Charlie. I'm the photo editor. What are you doing on that lobby? You're not taking pictures of me, are you? No. Like, who are you? Like, literally. And they're like, oh, this is sounds like, you know. The manager came out, and actually the owner, and they sided with me. They're like, look, man, that's his balcony. What has he bugged you? Is he staring at you? No, he's just up there smoking. We thought he's paparazzi, maybe. It's like, no, he's not. He's he works here, and we're their landlord to the studio. You know, well, he can't use the patio. Can't use the patio. Yeah, I don't want anybody looking. You know, I don't want when I'm out there. I don't want anybody up there. You know, no. And they're like, can you just not use this patio? Fine, I won't. Like, just go out front of the building and have your smoke breaks. Okay. So I'm out front. I can't even see. It's like 100 yards behind, around to the right. You can't. It's a big building. So I'm out there. And then they come back, and they're like, hey, we don't want you even out front. Like, I can't take my break. And then they find the manager and the owner actually kind of put the hammer down and said, look, we don't care who you are. Yeah, in England, whatever the hell. You're not going to be dictating to us what our employees can do. Charlie hasn't done anything to you. We don't even know who you are. You know, we could make it, make it difficult. Well, hell, we could just kick you out right now. I'm the landlord of the, and then the studio guy who was renting, he's like, yeah, man, don't, you know, and the guy wouldn't let up. No. And they're like, you know what? Go back to the patio. Go up to the patio. Screw that. I don't want him on the patio. No, that's you. That's fine. And I didn't. He would be up there. He'd flick me off. He would like flick his cigarettes up. He couldn't even reach me. And he was there for a couple weeks. And then right at the end, he actually apologized. He was like, man, I'm going through this, stressful, whatever. Sorry. And he said this from the bottom. He looked up and he, hey man, no hard feelings. Maybe he realized the agency might have, we had images of him too. But again, he's not in America. He wasn't that big. In Europe, he was really big. And again, there was all this drama. People wanting to, it's just stupid. Good times though. Again, please like, share, and subscribe. That's the best way to support the channel. If you want to support the channel, the information's in the description for Cash App. My handle is charliegreerpodcast, and there's information for Zelle. That's my email. You can all figure it out. But I love y'all. I do this every day. I'll be back tomorrow. I love y'all. Be blessed. Cheers.